Night owl. What if it depends? How do you answer this? How do you say, I could choose either of them? Let me share a framework with you on how to answer this when somebody asks you. Hello, I'm Deepti Rao. If you haven't met me, I am here to help you master your impromptu speaking skills and build your confidence. I have been doing these lives for a couple of weeks now, and it's been fun. I enjoy sharing with you, teaching you, and learning from you. And thank you for all the feedback and the reviews I've received. I'm trying to use those and make it a better experience for everybody. So, I have been sharing what impromptu speaking is, why you do it, why some people don't do it. And I've also been sharing some frameworks, which I call them, that help you answer some of these or speak about something when you're not sure. Having these frameworks helps you gain the confidence to answer different things in life. Think of these frameworks as a toolbox, and from it you pick one tool, the right tool for the right occasion. And I have many that I want to share. I have at least 15 and maybe even more. As I keep adding more, I will share those with you. So previously, I've shared the pendulum framework where you choose either this or that. When you're given a choice or when you have a choice, which one do you pick? How do you answer those? Previously, I also shared how you could say, I don't want to pick either one. I want to pick something else in the middle. I feel there are occasions where you don't have to pick a choice, either this or that. Sometimes a topic doesn't require you to either agree or disagree, nor does it require you to choose between two stands. Or perhaps it does. But you have a different point of view, and it depends on where you are in your life, which stage you are in, or maybe which situation you are in. You could choose something when you are in a professional setting, you could choose something when you are in a personal, social setting. So it could vary. So some of these do not have necessarily a right or wrong answer. Or it is not that you have to choose one or the other. You could choose both based on where you are. So how do you handle this? And as I told you before, where somebody asks you, are you a morning person or a night owl? How would you answer that? Let me introduce you to the new framework, which is called the timeline framework. This is where you share something about the past. In the beginning, you share something about the past. Maybe how you felt about the topic or the question you're being asked when you're a kid, like a while back. When you're younger, the world seemed different. You had different opinions. You're not formed all your opinions, and you were basing those based on what your peers thought, or maybe something that you felt. And your worldview was not fully formed. So you could have, if it was a candy, you liked a different candy when you were young because you got the sugar rush. But now you may not like it. It depends. You may still like it too. But when you're doing this, sharing about your past, be vulnerable and share, even if it's what you think is kiddish opinion back then, share. When something is personal, people resonate with it better because it's more universal. When you're, as I said about the candy, when you're a child, you like sweet, you like the sugar rush, and that's universal. It has the same effect on everybody. Someone in the audience may have felt the same, or someone that you're talking to may also resonate with it. So share something from the past about the topic. And then share what you do now or how you feel about it now. As you grow older, you kind of gain a different perspective. You would say you became wiser and you have different experiences. So has your opinion changed on the topic? Do you still feel the same way about the topic? Why? You could give some reasons why. Or if it hasn't changed, why not? Why do you think you still have the same opinion or the same beliefs as you did when you were younger? So share what you feel about the topic at the present moment. This could be a large piece of what you say. Then, finally, share your thoughts about the topic in the future. You could take a guess what you would feel based on how you transformed your opinion of the topic. And do you think you will still feel the same way in the future? Or have you read something that makes you think that you might change your opinion? Or you have some foresight about how you could be different or you could feel different about it? Or are you unsure about what could happen in the future? We never know. We might think that's what it could be, but you could share this too. Even if you are unsure about what will happen or how your opinion will change, share this. Share why you are unsure. You will be surprised how many people will agree with that. They will feel like, oh, I also feel the same. And finally, conclude. So at this point, after you've shared your past, the present, and the future about this topic, you brought them along with you on a journey, and you have them either resonate with you or differ about how you formed your opinion. So you brought them along this journey. Finally, wrap up your speech by bringing the audience back to the present moment and share your message with them. Don't forget to conclude this. You need to wrap it all up. This is kind of like a bringing back the loop. So this timeline framework does not need to be your opinion on something at different stages of your life. It could be just facts about someone or some place at different timelines. The facts about how sugar has been introduced into our dietary system. It could just be facts. It was back then, it was like this, and this was how it is now. This is where it could be. It could be something like smoking, where smoking was considered okay, and then there was this big revelation that it was very bad for health. It was cancerous, and so it changed. So those are not your opinions, those are just facts, and you could use this in that scenario. So let me go back and explain how I would do this for when somebody said, are you a morning person or a night owl? Funny you ask me that. When I was young, I reveled in the fact that I was a night owl. I wanted to be like my older brothers and sisters. I thought being a night owl was something elevated. I used to drink a lot of caffeine late in the evening so I could stay awake, because as a kid I would fall asleep, but I wanted to be with the older ones, the grown-up ones. So I would drink a lot of caffeine and stay awake and try to kind of be up there with them. But eventually I would fall asleep very quickly. The caffeine didn't do much. But I still believed that I was a night owl and I could do a lot of things. I have done many, many long nights when I was in school. Now, I have a different opinion. I think being a morning person is much more suitable to what I do. And being in the morning and getting up in the early morning and actually being able to have that freedom to not have other tasks in that you have to resolve, but just being there by yourself. And there's so much to do. I enjoy morning walks. I do morning meditation. So there's a lot of things that I enjoy in the morning. But I am here now and I like this. In the future, I'm not sure I will still be able to be a morning person. Here is why. I saw my mother, in her later stages of life, had a lot of trouble sleeping during the night. Funnily, she would stay awake during the night and watch YouTube videos of things that she just enjoyed learning about. And she would sleep early in the morning rather than be a morning person. So I think at some point in our life that may change. And so I am prepared that maybe I may not be in control of whether I'm a morning person or I'm a night owl. So I'm prepared for that too. But at this moment, I am enjoying being a morning person as long as I can do it and enjoy the freedom I get and the quietness. So that's why I like being a morning person at this moment. So there you see, I shared with you how I could do even a question where it was a choice. And I wanted to say the choice is not whether I am a morning person or a night owl. It depends on which stage of life I am in. And I could be either one. I am fine with it. So sometimes this may not be a this or that kind of a question. It could be something else. And I will show you as I go along how this works. I was also thinking this you could use in many different occasions. One example that came to my mind was during a job interview when generally they ask, this is one of the behavioral questions commonly asked. They ask you, what are your weaknesses? What do you think your challenge is personally? You could use this to say, previously I was like this, now I'm like this. This is what I've learned after experience. And in the future, I am aiming to be that. So let me just give you an example. Let's say somebody asks you, so what do you consider as your weakness? I would say, in the past, when I was younger and I was just fresh out of college and I joined the workforce, I was not open to other people not being able to understand what I do or how I did things. I had this kind of arrogant attitude and I thought people didn't understand what I said. I thought, oh, maybe they don't know it, so I don't need to bother. I would kind of close them off, or I would not have open communication with them. As I started learning, as I started getting adjusted to my role and progressing in the career ladder, I realized that even though people I worked with had different opinions or different phases in their life, they still brought something that was very valuable to what I did. So now when I see somebody that either does not understand me or does not agree with me, I am open to the fact that, okay, there is somebody who is not agreeing, or so I try to find where the common ground is, because I know by either helping them understand what I do or understanding where they're coming from is much more beneficial to me rather than saying, okay, my way or the highway. So that is very helpful. That's where I am now. In the future, I my goal is to be where I do not share that this is what I feel like at the outset. I want to be there, open, hear and understand what the other person says, make sure that I completely understand what they're saying, and then agree with them or say, what do you think about this? I want to be where I am just another cog in the wheel, so to speak, and not the wheel. So that's where I want to be. But here I am today, where I am now able to share with somebody where I am and understand where they are and see where I can meet them halfway, or understand why my thinking on that particular situation is wrong. So there you see, here it was something where it was not a this or that. It was what is your weakness, and how I framed it. It shows that I had a different opinion in the beginning, where I am now, and where I'm headed, or where I want to be, eventually where I want to end up. So this actually gives the hiring manager or the team a better understanding of how you think through things, and also the fact that you personally have a goal of where you want to be. It makes them kind of see where and how you fit within the team. It plays into a lot of it plays into leadership, it plays into your communication style, it plays into your own personal development style. So there are lots of things that brings it about. You could use this timeline framework for those. So what I'm sharing during these live sessions, where the impromptu speaking sessions, it's not just where you go up on stage or you're giving a conference speech and you have to do this impromptu. You can use this in so many different occasions. You can use it on a regular daily basis, or as I just showed you, during your job interview. Job interviews are nothing but small impromptu speeches. That's how I see it, and that's how I help others prepare for an interview. It is not a long speech, but they're small speeches. So at this moment, I want to take a little bit of time and see if there is anything in the chat. Please do go and share your feedback or anything you feel or how you like this session. I've done this previously before, and if you have not watched my other videos, go watch them on how I do this. At this moment, I will demonstrate how I do these. So what I've been doing is I randomly generate a question and I take that question and answer it. Anything over 30 seconds and under 3 minutes. That's kind of, after you have 3 minutes, you lose the audience or whoever you're speaking to. You have to watch that it doesn't become a monologue. You have to give the other person a chance to respond and talk. So I am going to now share. Okay, so here are the randomly generated questions. Let me read through and which one works best. Okay, I think I will take the what do you fear question. When I was a kid growing up, I feared any kind of reptiles. I had the scaly skin of the reptiles really bothered me. Where I grew up, there were these lizards, these common house lizards, so was a bit long, and they would be on the walls and they would suddenly fall off. And oh, I just was so fearful. And I was told they were very poisonous too. And I also had the fear of snakes. And as I grew up, I kind of overcame a lot about the fear of reptiles. Still, I will stay away from it. At this moment, at the present moment, as I grew up and I started doing other things, my biggest fear was how I was perceived, what other people thought about me. That became my biggest fear. Was my accent correct? Did I say correctly? Did I look at their eyes? Was I making sense? Was my language correct? Was my grammar? And was I dressed appropriately? So, how I was perceived, not just visually as my body appearance, but also what the content of what I was saying. I was very fearful. And there were times when I was hiding, even though I had something to share, because I was not sure I was going to be accepted. In the future, my fear, I don't know, but I feel the future, I fear that I will not have enough time. There are so many things I want to do. I really want to help the world and also do so many things, just enjoy so many things and learning. I'm not sure I will have the time, but that's where I want to be. Right now, my fear of being rejected by somebody or how somebody perceives me is something that I'm overcoming and trying to get to this place where I'm not so fearful. Just like I got over the fear, deathly fear of reptiles. So there you see, I did it. It was more than 30 seconds and less than 3 minutes. As you noticed, I started out saying how, as a child, I did what was so fearful to me. And I explained, I gave little graphic, vivid descriptions. So some people who have had the same experience say, I know, I feel that too. I know a lot of people do not like snakes. It's something creepy, but I shared that. Then I shared what I feel, what I fear. It is not a physical thing I fear. The first one was more physical. The second one was more a mental thing. So I kind of said there are some physical things I feared, and then now I fear. So you could change it. It doesn't have to be all physical or all mental. And I said, this is where I am. I was so fearful of what somebody thought about me. And then I said, where I want to be in the future. The future, I don't know what it's going to be, but I feel like as I am enjoying what I'm learning, that I may not have so much time. Time as in days, there are only 24 hours and I need to sleep. And also time as in the lifetime I have. I don't know what my lifetime is, but that's the fear. There's that, I want to do this. I want to. And so you see how I shared something. If I was somebody who was listening to the conversation and say, oh yeah, I also had that fear of snakes. But it's interesting why you feel that you at this moment you're so afraid of what other people think of you. You feel so I kind of opened it up as a conversation. It is not a monologue where I am just spewing out stuff. So that's how you could use this framework. It's a timeline framework where you share what happened in the past, give them why, and then what you feel about it in the present moment, and be vulnerable. Share some things that you feel you're you generally don't share, and then talk about the future. This is just an extrapolation of what you might think, or if it's something that you could very well say what you would be in future. Let's say you're learning how to snowboard. In the future you will not just fall down, but you will be able to easily snowboard on the slopes. Or it could be something about how to cook or how to knit. Or maybe it's a technical, you're learning Python programming. You can say where you were in the past, where you are now, is you'll know how to do it, and then you could say, in the future, I will be so good at it then, and I'll find my dream job. So it could be anything that too, right? So where you could, it's a very definitive future. Or it could be something where you can say, I really don't know, but this is what I think I'm gonna be in the future. So at this moment, I want to take a minute and see if there is anything in the chat. I don't see anybody there. So I want to again reiterate, as I mentioned in the previous one, the only way you get better at these is by practicing. And if anybody wants to join me on video now in the live call, there are 5 things. You need to have Google Chrome because the app I'm using will only work on Google Chrome at this moment. You DM me on Twitter at Art of Storytelling. I have that up there on the screen. If you're ready and able to do it, please join me. If you DM me, I will share a link with you, a private link, so you can come join this on video. Once you join me, you have to answer a randomly generated prompt. And if I have those 5 options and I can keep generating more, you can pick something that works for you. I don't want to put you under pressure of answering from one of the 5 that it generates. You could pick any one of them. If you want me to keep generating till you find something that you comfort, I'm willing to do it. I don't want this to be a stressful one. I want it to be more of something that you're comfortable with and something that you enjoy in talking about. So those are the 3 things. The other 2 things, since you're going to be on video, when you join, you're giving me the permission to have your face and your audio on the video, because this video is going to be on my YouTube channel. So I want to make sure that you're okay and you've given me that permission. By joining, you are in effect giving me that permission. Number 5, once you finish, please wait till the app gives you this green check mark and says recording complete. Because if I don't get that, then the resolution of the video and audio may not be the best. I want to have the best resolution and audio. So you don't need to have any special equipment. You just need a desktop computer and have Google Chrome and any regular headphones you have. Even your phone headphones would work too. So those are the things. And please make sure that you raise your hand even if you're not ready. Even if you can just stay for 30 seconds and say, this is what I think, this is what I'm feeling now, and this is where I want to be. It's okay. And one of the reasons I have this is I want to give people a chance to practice. And I also give you feedback on how you were and what you could improve, or what I really liked and what I learned from this, because I'm still learning. And this is the thing is I like about this is public speaking is not something there's like a definitive, I reached the pinnacle. There's always more I can do and more that I can learn. And there are ways that I would have never even imagined that I would learn, but I keep learning. I know some of you may not be ready to come on the live and be on video in front of so many people. That's okay. I understand. And if you're someone who wants to improve but is not ready to come on the live video, here is what I say. Especially in the last few years, everybody or most everybody has a Zoom account. In the Zoom free account, go practice. Record yourself. I will share the link to the random generated question website. Practice those. Take something, it doesn't have to be anything that's on there. It could be something that you thought about or you had encountered or somebody asked you those things. Use this framework and practice. And you practice it, you record that, and you could have your own review about it. You could watch that Zoom recording and see how you did. And then you could say, oh, maybe I should do it this way. Try it again. Or if you want the second time around, do it a different way. Use a different framework. So far, I've shared 3 frameworks: the Pendulum, the Swiss, and the Timeline. You could use any of those. Or you could use something very different. It doesn't have to be these. I'm just giving you these so it is helpful to you. And start practicing. And I'm not even saying use this pitch, use this volume, use this tone. All those mechanics of public speaking, I'm not even asking you. Just do what you feel is comfortable. As you practice, as you record more of these videos on your own, in your home, within the privacy of you just recording on Zoom, do it. The more you do it, the better you will get. There is nothing that is stopping you from learning. You don't need any special skill. It's not like music where you have to learn notes or where you have to learn those different rhythms. This is just talking. We all, as humans, we know how to talk. We started talking when we are maybe less than a year or somewhere in that range, a year old. So you don't need any special skills. You don't need any special charisma. You can do this. And when you start approaching this as small bites, so small habits. So if you're doing on Zoom, and if you can only do, as I said, remember when I did the 30 seconds to 3 minutes? If you can only do 30 seconds at the beginning, acknowledge that you were able to do it. Rejoice. Pat your back yourself, saying, hey, you did it. Even if it was 30 seconds. You never thought you would be able to do it. So do that, even if it's just 30 seconds. And I urge you all to practice more. As I said, this impromptu speaking is not just as a public speaker, but you could use these frameworks or these solutions or these techniques in many different occasions. I've shared you could do this when you're at a social gathering, when you're at a job interview, or when you're at professional networking, or when you're giving a speech, or when you're at some event and somebody says, okay, now the other person who's going to speak didn't show up, can you speak? So this prepares you, and this gives you enough confidence. Now I'm here to help you just build your confidence and enjoy speaking. Let me check the chat once more and see if I haven't seen anything in the chat, but it's okay. As I said, I'm doing this in the hopes that I gave you enough tools and techniques so you can start exploring this. You can start building your repertoire of impromptu speaking. To cap it all, today I shared how you could use the timeline framework, where you show how you felt about a topic in the past, whether you change your opinion or whether you're in the same right now, and where you see yourself in the future. I shared with you how I had the fear of reptiles and lizards and how I kind of outgrew it, and something else took its place where it was a different fear. And I shared what I think, what I fear my future is be. And you can use this framework when either it's a choice about this or that, or it could just be something you feel and how you progressed in your life. So use the timeline framework when you have to share something where you can show the transformation of you over different stages of your life, or it could also be where in different occasions, in different settings, you choose different things and you feel differently. I'm glad you all joined me, and I will share all the links below after this live session. I hope to see you all back in 2 weeks.